So today we're going to talk about being present, which right now is probably one of the most challenging times certainly in my life and maybe in everyone else's, to be present when there's so much worry going on in the world. What things in your experience, both of you, do you find stop you from being present, and how do you manage that?
Good question. Big question. Amanda, do you mind?
Please go ahead.
What stops me from being present? So I have a little morning routine, right, where I do a little meditation in the morning. And this is specifically to help me become present, because usually when I wake up in the morning, there's a kind of program which loads, which says, okay, what do you need to do? What needs to be done? What hasn't been done? How's it going to happen? Etc. And this can veer off into great motivation, or it can veer off into anxiety, or it can veer off into a sense of apathy or whatever. So it's a great moment just to take stock and to stop and to become aware of those kind of internal monologues, dialogues. Sometimes it's a full-on crowd of rioters, who are trying to take control of my thoughts and run away with them. So, yeah, that's what stops me being present quite often.
How do you manage that? I mean, like you say, sometimes it can be like rioters knocking on your head saying, but what about the money, and what about this, and what about, and how are you going to, how do you manage that?
I think there's a simple technique I was taught through, again, meditation, which is simply the first step is to notice it when it happens. Like just to say, aha, there's a thought. That's a thought. And there's a miraculous thing that happens in that moment. Like as soon as you notice thought, it unravels and it leaves. It might come back in about a second or 2 seconds, or if you're lucky, 10. But as soon as you notice it, then it loses its power.
So it's a bit like a fear. When you voice a fear, in fact, it loses its power.
A problem shared is a problem halved. It's kind of like that. Yeah.
Wow.
How about you, Amanda? What stops you being present?
So things that I have to do, as you said, things I have to do. So my list of things, my to-do list, that stops me being present. And thinking about it, there are 2 things that I do which help me. And one is breathing, so focusing on my breath and thinking about my inhalation and my exhalation, and that being what I'm thinking about. So rather than thinking about all of those other thoughts, but also not giving myself a hard time about all of those other thoughts. And a yoga teacher once said, you have to see the thoughts and see them as though they're clouds passing across the sky. And it's not engaging with those thoughts. So being present with your breath, because that is the now, that is the constant, that's what keeps you here and alive. And for me, that has been the greatest tool, I think, for being present.
Nice. How about you, Alex? Do you have any techniques, or what stops you being present? What gets you back in the moment?
I think, I agree with both of what you said. I mean, I think that especially in the morning, when I wake up, my mind is just filled with worries and thoughts and expectations of what the day, what the week, what the year is going to hold. And I think that what I experience about modern day society is essentially that we all need to have our plan. We all need to kind of be going somewhere, and it's about the destination. But being present, I think, actually acknowledges the journey as being important. What stops me from being present? Well, many, many things, of course, like everybody else. I think something else to add to what you said, I think, breathing and managing is really important. And another way that you can manage it as well is by managing your expectations. I think that when you have a preconception of how your day is going to be, then you automatically kind of, in some ways you target something, but you also close off possibility. And it's a really, really difficult mindset to move into, but moving into the mindset of saying, well, what will happen today will happen. And I will be a passenger in that day, both present, passively and actively, but actually giving up the kind of sense of control, maybe. And maybe I make it sound like something amazing, but it's something that I very seldom manage to achieve that mind space of. But when I do, I'm able to really, really, truly be in the nothing of the now, and be at peace with accepting anything and everything in the now, with a conversation or an interaction or my day, more or less, you know. So yeah, that would be my thoughts on it.
Yeah, lovely.
Yeah. Why don't we, I have a lovely, so like, in the spirit of being present and in the spirit of voicing, like you said, unraveling and voicing those fears, the little voices that say, hey, can you do this? Are you good enough? Is your day going to be good enough? All those little, that cacophony of noise that comes to us. Why don't we invite any viewers that are watching this to post what stops you from being present? You know, share with us what it is that stops you from being present, and any techniques that you've found that helps to sort of, you know, calm the storm, acknowledge the storm, and bring you back to being present. There we go.